Yo, what's good everyone, it's Zigzag here. Welcome back to another Geoguessr video. Today, I'm honored to be once again joined by I'm Shawn, Get Off My Lawn, who is a linguistics YouTuber and who has set up the challenge for today's video. So Shawn, take us away with the concept.
Hi Oscar, thanks for having me back. I'm very excited to play again. It's been very fun last time. This time, I had a friend create a map for us. I personally don't really know exactly what to expect. I know it's a very varied locations throughout the world. We should see a lot of endangered languages, hopefully, and it should be fun.
Excellent. Keen to see some endangered languages. We got 18 locations. Whoever has the highest total score across the 18 locations wins. Shawn, shall we get into it?
Let's do it.
Okay guys, and as usual, we're playing NMPZ while Shawn will be able to look around. The first one here, we have Mutichulu here, which is actually, I believe, where Uluru is located. So you can see, you take the number 4 off the main highway here, and there you have Mutichulu, and there is Uluru, which is, you know, the big rock in the middle of Australia. So yeah, the cultural center, I would assume it's going to be somewhere around here, but maybe it's even further out. Talanguru we see on this map as well. So yeah, we should just be somewhere along this. Here's the cultural center as well. Yeah, so we're probably on Uluru Road here, going west-southwest. I guess we're coming up actually to a roundabout here. So I would think maybe like this road here, I'm gonna guess.
Okay. So first thing right away, well, this kind of looks a little bit like unofficial coverage, and my friend did mention that there might be like a location or two unofficial. This is clearly Australia, I want to say. We right away have some Aboriginal Australian languages. Talanguru Nyankunichaku Muti Jutlu. Yulara. I probably am not pronouncing any of this correctly, but Yulara actually sounds familiar to... Yep, there it is, Yulara. Like it makes sense for it to be the Northern Territory since... Is that Uluru, actually? I might be completely mistaken here, but Northern Australia is definitely known to have some of the highest concentration of Australian Aboriginal languages, especially sort of in the area by Alice Springs. So Yulara sort of just makes sense here. Like I might have been reading something about a language in this area, which is why it kind of seemed familiar to me. I feel like we could line this up. So Yulara is sort of west-ish. There's like a roundabout. It kind of veers towards the south. Could it be this? I'm just gonna try over here. Okay, well... Oh, so Zigzag guessed literally exactly on the spot. I didn't even notice that. That was unexpected. I thought it was still loading. I thought he didn't even guess yet.
And yeah, Shawn is in the general correct area there, but yeah, we managed to get pretty close to the roundabout, so let's move forward to the next round. Okay, what have we here? This language immediately looked kind of like Khmer to me, which is the language in Cambodia. Now, the thing is, Cambodia does not have this updated Google Street View coverage, so I feel like we may be over in Vietnam, but somehow with a Buddhist temple that's speaking Khmer language. I don't know how many Khmer speakers there are in Vietnam, but it seems possible at least. I mean, yeah, we can see we're driving right. We've got this red and white striped signpost, which they tend to really like in Vietnam, I think. And beyond that, I don't think there's too much point in like spending a whole lot of time here. I want to guess right on the border somewhere. I'm looking for like a physical kind of area that would make sense to have like an exclave of language. Maybe something like this. Maybe right on the border somewhere that's like riding up against the country of Cambodia. Like this city here, maybe. It's right on the border of Cambodia, as far away as possible from Hanoi. I'll try that.
Okay, well that is Vietnamese right away. While that, I'm pretty sure is Khmer. It's not Thai, and I don't think it's Lao. I think it's Khmer. You can tell by it's kind of like the way that I remember that it's Khmer, it's a bit more sort of wiggly like that, whereas Thai has these little holes and it just looks slightly different. But this is Vietnamese, 100%. Vietnamese is a Austroasiatic language. It's not Austronesian, it's Austroasiatic. The largest Austroasiatic language, if I'm not mistaken, and it's written using the Latin script. It actually has many, many tones in it, more than Mandarin, if I remember, like 6 or 7 tones in Vietnamese, which is quite a lot. So we're driving on the right here. This must be Vietnam, right? But it also has Khmer on it. And the fact that actually this has Khmer on it as well. Wait, is that Khmer? Or because that kind of looks a little bit more like Thai with the squiggles. No. That's Khmer. That's Khmer. Okay, this I recently learned is a Vietnamese pole with the red and white over there. So I think we're in Vietnam, might be on the border with Cambodia. I doubt that Tuan Tang, however you pronounce that, is the location. This is Vietnam on the border with Cambodia, maybe? Okay. Soktrang. Okay, well, I'm not finding that.
Okay, and yeah, we've gone for similar guesses here. I'm slightly closer. It was actually quite far south there, though. So maybe there's some story with, you know, Cambodian speakers down there, but I'm not sure. Okay, next one here. Round number 3. We are slightly in the lead, and this immediately looks like it's going to be around Cape Town, and I even see the name of the city here, Stellenbosch. Stellenbosch is just inside the mountains near Cape Town here. But what are the extra languages here? So it looks like we got Afrikaans next, English, and then this language, Inkundla Ka Manti. Interesting. So Stellenbosch. Stellenbosch is here. Shoutouts to Max from South Africa. I think he studied here. And Stellenbosch. Could we be near the university? Maybe. We've got a church there, and we're looking northeast onto the mountains, of course. So maybe even in like the east of the city here. See if I can see a church. Maybe like this one here. We could be on Han Street. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that language is. I don't know exactly what's going on here, but I'm just gonna guess here.
Stellenbosch, I know is a city in South Africa, I'm pretty sure. Isn't it not? That sounds very familiar. Stellenbosch. Landroskantoor Magistrates Office, that has to be Afrikaans. And then Inkundla Kamanti. That is either Zulu, it could be Xhosa as well. Yeah, South Africa. Okay, under there it says Brackenfell. So is Brackenfell the name of the place? But I swear I've heard of Stellenbosch before. Stellenbosch has to be a place, right? It just sounds so familiar. While I'm looking for it, South Africa has, I think, over 10 official languages, and some of them are, there's Zulu and Xhosa, which are click languages. Xhosa, for example, has 3 clicks in it. There's the lateral click, Xhosa, like in the name. Then there's the dental click, and then there's the alveolar click. And there's a few other languages that have clicks that some have more, some have less. But I need to focus on finding Stellenbosch. There it is. There it is. There it is. There it is. There's Stellenbosch. Yeah, the mountains, I was kind of like I didn't discuss it, but those mountains I was kind of looking, veered me towards. I'm just gonna go center Stellenbosch. Okay. Could have probably found it, but I just kind of was, I don't know. My mind is going a million miles an hour.
Okay, was Stellenbosch central? And yeah, really nice guess from Shawn there. First little win from him, but obviously the points are extremely even so far. The rounds have all been quite achievable, as created by Shawn's friend. Okay, we have language here. Mut Uchaka. That is interesting. This should be Peru as well, with the striped signpost with the agave plant here. But this is some indigenous language to Peru. I feel like a lot of the indigenous population lives inside the mountains, kind of between Puno up to maybe Huancayo. That's kind of the area I associate most with them. But yeah, I'm not sure here. It could still be elsewhere. I'm thinking maybe like a Cusco here. Could make quite a bit of sense. Imagine if we could find the street. Maybe we actually can, because it feels like it's quite central here. I wonder, is it possible? I do see some interesting language here, like Kiskapata. Kiskapata is definitely an interesting street name. I mean, look, we have like a castle here, so we'd have to be like right near it if we are there. Inca Temple. I don't think that's an Inca temple. I think that's a church. Okay, he's guessed. I don't really think it's Cusco anymore, especially because I haven't found the street name here, but I think I still like the idea in general here, so let's hit guess.
Mutuchaca. That is familiar to me, Municipalidad de Cusco. This exact location, I think, was featured in the previous endangered and minority languages map that Zigzag and I played, and I also played in my channel separately. And I don't know if this is a coincidence or my friend just took it from the map. I think this is, I'm more leaning towards this as a complete coincidence, but this was in Cusco, and that language right there is, I'm pretty sure, has to be Quechua, or it could be technically Aymara, but I'm more leaning towards Quechua, which is basically the Inca language. And it is one of the, like, I think it's the most spoken, like, not just like indigenous language of South America, but indigenous language of the Americas in general. All dialects combined, the entire sort of Quechuan family has around almost 10 million speakers, if I remember correctly, which is just mad. But this was in the historic center of Cusco, which it was somewhere here, I swear. It was definitely on the, I don't remember exactly where it was, but I think it was definitely in the historic center. There's a park. Yeah, there's the park, and we're at the edge of it. So it should be right here. And there's a street going sort of south, like that. No, here. There we go, right here. Is this the first time that I guessed first? Or, not sure. But he must know, like Zigzag must know that this is Cusco, right? It said Cusco on it. Oh, what? He was closer, actually. Okay, that was the wrong park. Dang it, well, my memory wasn't as good as I thought it was.
Okay, it was there, and I just couldn't find the street name. It was actually this one, I guess. And yeah, he's also gotten Cusco there, so really nice. 4,999 points. I was not actually expecting that to be correct, but does make sense. Okay, next one here. This is quite a bit of fun. We've got some indigenous United States language here, I would say. Indigenous Americans here. And immediately you can see I've zoomed over this way, because I know that it's most common to see this kind of thing in Oklahoma. It's one of the only places where you can have some counties that have highest ancestry of indigenous Americans. And normally they're in like the east, near like where it says Cherokee Nation here, something like that. So this could be the Cherokee language in my opinion. It does say Muskogee Avenue there, which I mean does sound similar to Cherokee in a way, I would say. So Muskogee could be related. Oh, it does say Muskogee right here. Okay. That makes life nice and easy, I guess. We appear to be kind of going, I would say, northeast on this road. So it's a divided road, right? So we should be able to find it. Muskogee Turnpike. I would say we're on that one. I'm going to go for it here.
Okay, well this I don't even have to. So this is crazy cool. I'm so happy. Like I was hoping that one of these locations would show up and I'm so glad it did. So this is the Cherokee script. Cherokee is in Iroquoian language, if I remember correctly, and it's known for its script. It is the only indigenous American language, as in like United States of America, that has that, like it was natively developed sort of. There was a guy called Sequoyah who invented this script in the 1830s, I want to say, and he was completely illiterate before that. Like the story is a bit more complicated, but the summarized version is that he took a bunch of random letters from the Latin alphabet and numbers and similar symbols and adapted them into a syllabary. So this isn't an alphabet like the Latin alphabet is, where each letter is representing a specific sound, like S-T-O-P. These are actually syllables. So, like, I don't know how to read this, but each of these symbols is usually a consonant and a vowel that go together. Muskogee Ave. Yeah, Cherokee, it could be a Muskogean language, actually, now that I think about it, because it says Muskogee Ave, but I'm pretty certain it's still an Iroquoian language. Their homeland originally was, I think, around North Carolina, if I remember correctly, but they got sort of pushed more west during the Trail of Tears and many other initiatives by the United States government. Currently, like the largest area where Cherokee is spoken is in the Cherokee Nation of Oklahoma, northeast here, where the capital is Tahlequah, actually. And this kind of looks like Oklahoma. This could also be Tennessee. There's also another reservation, I think, in Tennessee. I don't remember exactly where. I think somewhere east here. But it definitely looks a bit more mountainous and a bit more jungly there. So I'm more leaning towards just Tahlequah. And another interesting but sad fact about Cherokee that I want to mention is that Cherokee is the second largest federally recognized tribe in all of the United States, second only to Navajo, spoken in the Navajo Nation over here in the American Southwest. And despite that, it only has around 2,000 speakers out of around 300 plus thousand registered members. Only a tiny portion still speak it, and unfortunately this language is severely endangered, and it has one of the coolest looking scripts of all time. So I'm just going to Tahlequah, and this looks more like a main road, so I kind of want to go here. Maybe it could be a different area. Okay, so it was a bit more south.
Okay, there we go, and of course we got a really close guess there from Shawn. Here was the actual road itself. Yeah, there we go, South Muskogee Avenue. Very nice guess. We were also close, so we're still in the lead, but things have really tightened up, and it seems like on this map, you've always got to get a good score. Because we're basically flawless so far, and it's still very close. Ooh, this is cool, this is cool. So Chubut, we know we're going to be in Chubut, which is this state in Argentina, or this province rather. But look at this, we have Welsh here, guys. This top line is Welsh. I've actually watched YouTube videos about this purely by coincidence myself, about the small Welsh population down here in the south of Patagonia. It turns out that, yeah, they actually did get a lot of immigrants from the British Isles, and particularly from Wales. And there are a few small places in Patagonia where you still get Welsh-speaking population, even if I think it's more or less dying out. But we're in Gaiman. Bienvenido a Gaiman. That's maybe the municipality from what I can tell here, but probably also the town name because it's also written at the top. So let's see if we can find that. It's going to be tiny, guys. Landscape-wise, though, it's very sandy, so I think it's towards the coast here. Okay, he found it already. Dang. I mean, Chubut's not that big, and it definitely felt like the east of the state to me, so we should be able to find this, guys. We have El Sombrero, but no Gaiman. Come on, man. Does it actually look like there's mountains off to the north there? Like, it's really hard to say. I don't know. It just looked more coastal to me in the beginning. I'm probably just going to guess around here, I think. I don't know, guys. There are a lot of towns. Oh, there we go. Gaiman. Finally. I was just about to give up. I was really just about to give up. But let's just guess, yeah. Okay.
Kroso Irgaimen Kindor Tref Kintaf Chubut. This is so cool. This is actually the Welsh colony in Argentina. So for those who don't know, there is actually Welsh is native to and spoken in Wales. It's a Celtic language related to Cornish spoken in Cornwall and Breton and Brittany. The three of them form the Brittonic sub-branch of the Celtic language family, along with the Gaelic branch, which is Irish, Scottish, Gaelic, and Manx. And the six of these together are the Celtic nations. Now, I think it was in the 19th century that a bunch of Welsh people set up a colony in Argentina. I can't remember the exact reason for them doing that, but it's in the Chubut province in Trelew, or Trelew, I can't remember exactly how it's pronounced. That's sort of like the capital of the Welsh area in Argentina. And bienvenido a Gaiman, primer municipio de Chubut. So, Gaiman, yeah. Gaiman, we're entering Gaiman. Croeso ir Gaiman. That is so cool. Seeing Welsh in Argentina is just the most random thing of all time. We're literally entering Gaiman, and it looks like we're entering it from the west. So the road sort of forks out a little bit and goes to a roundabout. Could it be this? I think this is this, actually. This would make a lot of sense. And we're literally right before the intersection. And the road sort of goes in a wavy... Yeah, I think this is this. I think this is... right here. Zigzag must recognize that it's at Chubut, at least. I don't know if he's looking for the actual place, but I sort of, yeah, I knew right away that it had to be around Trelew, because obviously Welsh isn't spoken all throughout. It's only a very small minority, really. Nice. Okay, Zigzag did get it in the finding it. And is it a double 5K? Yeah, it's a double 5K.
And there we go. We actually do manage the 5K there. Just like him. It took us a sweet time, but we had to stay in the lead, guys. We had to stay in the lead. But that's very cool. Very close to Trelew there, which is, you know, a bigger city in Chubut. And I had no idea that even there they had Welshies. That's very cool indeed. Okay, this is surely Balinese, I want to say. Sono Budoyo. Now, I know that Javan also has its own script and stuff like that, so it could still be Java here. Anyway, we're driving left. We've got the Indonesian flag, so we know it's going to be Indo. And this language, I don't know, Sono Budoyo probably sounds like it's going to be the city name. So we'll check here first. It's definitely not one of the bigger places here. I think it actually is Java here then. There's Sorono, so that's already a similar sounding place name. I mean, look, we have tiles on all the roofs here, so it should either be Java or on the islands here. See, I don't actually think it's Bali, but I do think it might be like East Java. I don't think he's actually going to find this. That's my prediction. I don't think within the allotted time he would find this. So I think I'm just going to make my guess. Even though I'm still searching, I'm so bad at giving it up. I mean, there's a lot of like places that sound similar all over Java. So I do like it on that level, but I'm actually going to say that this is East Javan, and I'm going to go right here between the volcanoes.
Sono Budoyo. Okay, this is Indonesia, and this is an indigenous script that I cannot remember exactly right away. This must be, is this Bali? There's Balinese, there's Javanese, there's Sundanese. There's a bunch of languages here like Achenese and sort of Buginese is another one, I think, spoken in Sulawesi, and most of them have their own indigenous scripts. You don't really see that often. Museum Sono Budoyo. So I think this is just Java. I think this might be just Javanese. It's kind of the easiest thing right away that I think of. Also, obviously, tiled roofs are very common. Sono Budoyo. Is Sono Budoyo a name of a city? Is this just downtown capital? Like, this is a very important round, I think. Situ Bondo, Bondowoso. I still am holding to the idea that it's Java. I mean, there's nothing really else that I could really use here, I don't think. But it looks very well kept together. It looks very central. Is this just a trick? Is this just a click capital type of thing? I think I might just go capital. Does any of this look like Jakarta? Zigzag like hasn't guessed yet either, so Banjarnegara. Wait, Negara. Banjarnegara. Negara is a direction. So Timor means east, Utara is north, I know that. Banjar is Banjara place. I think this place is called Banjar, actually. I can't remember if Negara is west, south, or center. I'm just going, you know what, I'm just gonna go Bandung and hope for the best, and I really don't know. Okay, well, we're both really far away, but this has widened the gap, unfortunately. Hopefully some next rounds are gonna be better.
Okay, it was actually Yogyakarta. That does make sense. He's he's gone West Java, and it was just, wow, downtown in Yogyakarta. So Yogyakarta is like kind of a special region. Obviously, it even says that. I know they have their own cultural things going on there, so it does make sense. But yeah, definitely difficult. We are still in the lead here, but this is a very close game so far. And Shawn is playing very nicely. Ooh, look at this. We have Korean. This is Korean language, and we're back in Indonesia. What the heck? Though this could be quite an advantageous round for us. For example, it says Kota here. Kota means city, and Bao Bao feels like it's going to be findable. I don't know, but Kota's more like village though, isn't it? I don't know. It just immediately reminded me of the west coast here of like Sumatra, maybe even Nias or something. We do have like a pile of stones here. Piles of stones are really common in Nias, so I want to see quickly if there's a place called Bao Bao here anyway. Maybe not. But where would they have Korean though? That's what's strange here. I feel like often the Kotas don't even show up on the map, to be fair. He's guessed. Okay, what the heck? What does he know that I don't? To me, it just looked like Sumatra West Coast. It could also be Kalimantan, but with this many of like these like kind of dark tin roofs, it reminds me of like somewhere along like maybe Bengkulu or something like that here. So I'll give a final look for anywhere called Bao Bao, because I feel like it still could be findable. But yeah, because I'm not finding it, I will just guess here. Oops, I did not mean to move there. And I will actually go all the way north Bengkulu here just to be like hedging through Sumatra. And I'm going to look around here after I've made my guess, of course. Can we actually see like the couple pattern here? Not really, but I still think I like my guess. Oh no, this fence looks pretty bad for where I guessed actually. Bao Bao, wait, it's over here or something, isn't it? Bao Bao is actually in Sulawesi, so we could go down massively here. I'm trying to remember where it is though. Bao Bao, it's down here. I knew I recognized it. Gosh damn it, man. The buildings here were a bit deceiving.
Okay, Kota Bao Bao. Okay, this, I'm gonna quickly zoom in and then I'm gonna explain. This is right here. Bao Bao, right there. We are right here. And before I click guess, I'm just gonna explain quickly. There is a language. I don't actually remember the name of the language, but there's it's an Indonesian language. It's an Austronesian language spoken in Indonesia that is actually written using the Korean script. I don't remember exactly why they started doing that, but they needed a native script and they decided to just borrow it from Korean. It's just Hangul. I can't read Hangul, but if you can, then this is probably reads similar to Indonesian rather than actually Korean. And as you can tell, everything here looks very Indonesian, and I know for a fact that it's right there. It says Bao Bao on the side over here, so I'm just going here. I don't know if I can actually align this, but okay, it must be one of these roads. But it must be somewhere here. Yeah, I don't think it's somewhere. It's not going to be too far away from there. But it's really a weird anomaly, if you think about it. A random Austronesian language. I don't think it even has that many speakers to begin with, written using the Korean script of all things. That's a really random find. I don't know how my friend managed to find that. I promise I did not aid him in any way in the creation of this map, but that is an awesome find. I think the language is called Chia Chia. I just remembered. It's called Cia Cia or Chia Chia. I don't know how it's pronounced, but it's spelled basically CIA-CIA, and it's spoken in Bao Bao. And look at, let's freaking go. Zigzag went all the way on West Sumatra, so we've definitely beaten them in points a little bit there. I don't know if that was very fair or unfair.
Did he find it? He most certainly did that. Korean, I don't know, but yeah, I mean, I should have been able to get that because, of course, we did actually have the place name written right there. This one is interesting. We've got the Oblast flag here and the outline. So I'm pretty sure this is Chuvashia. What's this one called? Let's see here. Not Chuvashia, maybe. Yeah, no, it is Chuvashia. Chuvashia is one of the republics of Russia. They do have Chuvash, the language, and it looks like we're in the biggest city here. So I would say this is probably just Cheboksary. Probably just like near the National Museum or something like that. Just gives that vibe to me. I think the angle of the road here is also quite good, right? In the distance, we can see some nicer buildings, but yeah, I'm probably just gonna go Cheboksary downtown here.
Okay, Chuvashiyon, Chuvashia. That as well, I'm gonna quickly zoom in before, so I don't lose my train of thought. The capital of Chuvashia, which is a republic in Russia, is Cheboksary. And if only I remember where Cheboksary are, that would be very nice. Cheboksary should be a relatively biggish city. I need to find it. Izhevsk is the capital of Udmurtia. Yoshkar-Ola, Cheboksary, right there. So this must be Cheboksary, and we're on the river. So this must be Volga. This must be north. Chuvashia is very fascinating with the fact that, first of all, it has a really cool looking flag. Chuvash is actually a Turkic language, distantly related to Tatar and Turkish and Kazakh and many other Turkic languages, but specifically Chuvash is actually, I think it like forms its own branch on the Turkic sort of language family tree, and amongst Turkic languages, it's the most divergent and unusual, sort of. And though it's still spoken by a few 100,000 people, if I remember correctly, so it shouldn't be that endangered. But this is like, yeah, this is like the touristy area here in Cheboksary. Cheboksary, again, is the capital. So it's somewhere here. I don't think this will be 2 big points. Could probably spend... Okay, it was right there by the museum.
Okay, Shawn is of course also there, so that was never going to be a huge round here. But I said at halftime we would go through for like a kind of a stop off here. So let's go chat to Shawn. Ooh, man. The Indonesia hurt me there. Bao Bao. I knew I'd heard of it, but I could not find it on the map.
Yeah, the Indonesia one. I've read, like, there's a random language. I think it's called Chia Chia. That is spoken. It's an Austronesian language related to Indonesian and a bunch of others spoken in Indonesia. That for some reason, when they started adopting a writing system, they just took Hangul from Korea because they thought it looked cool and it was easy. Yeah, and now there's an Indonesian language written in with the Korean script in Southeast Sulawesi.
That is absurdly cool. I've never heard of that, but that is actually useful for Geoguessr knowledge, I would say.
If you ever see Korean in Indonesia, 99% of the time, I would bet just go there, Southeast Sulawesi.
But okay, you do have quite a sizable lead there. Without that round, not so much, but with it, so yeah, you're in the lead now.
It's a very close game, I'd say.
It's very close still. Still plenty of points to be on offer, especially on a round like this, perhaps. So I would say good luck.
Yeah, good luck.
That's our halftime check-in. We've still got 9 rounds to go. Okay, what have we got here? We got the Museum of Nunata Sukanatangit Museum. Okay, we're definitely going to try and find this. We've got the Northwestern Territories license plate. I have one of them right here. It's shaped like a polar bear. You can see that right here on the screen. So we know we're going to be up there. Northwestern Territories, of course, if we get into the map, is this one here. So it doesn't leave us too many options. Like, what's actually covered up there? Unless this guy's traveling, but no, we can see multiple of them. Now I'm trying to remember what's actually covered. So Inuvik is covered, but that doesn't have Trekker, because this is like Generation 3 Trekker. I'm actually confused. I'm trying to remember what's even covered, like Wrigley, but I didn't think we were there. Guys, I'm confused here because I can't think of a single place that has this kind of snowy coverage in Northwestern Territories. It makes me wonder, could the cars have traveled? But that doesn't make sense either. So we should really be up here somewhere, and I'm just not sure where. He's guessed. Okay. Man, what town is it? I thought I knew all the ones that would have coverage. Fort Simpson. The angle of the road is pretty good for Fort Simpson here, to be fair. Do we have any hotels? Not hotels, museums. Not really, though. I've got to search for more. Maybe Fort Simpson is better, though. Yellowknife? I'm pretty sure Yellowknife has no coverage like this. It's all Generation 2. I'm actually just so unsure, guys. What the heck is this? Like, these towns up here, I don't think they have coverage like that. Oh, this one actually does. Wait. There's quite a bit of coverage up here. They have a community corporation, they have an arts and crafts, but they don't have a museum. And then again, neither does the one I've clicked. So if it's up here, I'm going to be disappointed. But it does kind of feel like it could be up there, doesn't it? I feel like I actually do want to go up there. Is that at all possible? There is some coverage up here. I think I'm actually going to go up here, as crazy as it sounds.
Back in here, and this is the Arctic. Okay, so here we have an indigenous script. These are called syllabics. Musée, that's French. Then we have museum, and then in the middle, Nunata Sunnakutangit, I think. It pronounced something like that. This must be Inuktitut or some other Canadian Inuit language, and you can tell that by the fact that, first of all, I mean, there's French and English. French right away indicates Quebec and just Canada in general. Now, Nunata must be a part of the word that makes up museum. But these are the Canadian Aboriginal syllabics. You used to write Inuktitut and a bunch of other Inuit languages in the north of Canada. It's an Eskimo Aleut language, or Eskaleutian language. I think that's the new name for the family. And Greenlandic is also a part of that family, even though I think Greenlandic is the largest language by speakers, but it's written using the Latin script, and Greenland is a part of the Danish realm, while this is Inuktitut. So in Canada, there's Nunavut, which is the northernmost province, territory, and the capital of it is Iqaluit. Iqaluit is sort of the capital of all Inuit in Canada, I want to say, and it's the largest city in Nunavut and the capital. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's there, but the word Nunata sounds familiar to me. I don't remember if it's a place name, but... Oh, Nunata, there it is, actually. Nunata Sunnakutangit, which is just museum, so we're right there. We're on this road. Yeah, like Iqaluit made sense right away. It could have been any of these little... Well, it's one of the most sparsely populated places, and I don't think there's coverage on many of these. Pond Inlet, I think might have some in Arctic Bay. But all of these are absolutely tiny, even smaller than Iqaluit. But yeah, really fascinating place. I'd love to visit one day. Here you can see actually the Canadian flag and the flag of Nunavut, which features, I forget like what it's called, but it's these stacks of stones that is sacred in Inuit tradition. But let's just go ahead and guess. I hope that Zigzag gets it in there. I hope. I think he should know about Iqaluit. While we're waiting, I just wanted to mention as well maybe a few other facts about Eskimo Aleutian languages, Inuktitut. You may have noticed some really long words, and that's because it is actually a polysynthetic language where entire sentences in English may be expressed in a single gigantic word, because what happens in Inuktitut is they take a lot of morphemes, smaller parts of the words, and they basically just glue them together. But like some of you might be familiar with a lesser version than that, which exists sort of like in German. Like they like to compound words to make them really long and have a more specific meaning. Inuktitut kind of does it similar, but in a much deeper way, combining a lot more fractions of the sentence, a lot more particles put together, not just individual nouns like German does. And that's why you get words like Nunata unnikarvik, Nunata sunnakutangit, and Inuli sautinut niuvirvik. I wish I could read these, but yeah, I looked at them for a little bit, but like these are also, like it's a syllabic system similar to what I explained how Cherokee works, where each symbol isn't a letter, but it's a syllable. It's a combination of a consonant and a vowel. Let's see if Zigzag found it. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, he went to Tuktoyaktuk, which isn't a bad guess either, I would say. But they don't really use Canadian syllabics over there, I don't think. I might be wrong, but Tuktoyaktuk is actually the furthest north that you can drive by car in Canada, if I remember correctly. I think there's even a monument that says, yeah, Arctic Ocean sign, and over here it should be the end of the road.
Hello? No. Wait, do they have the same... Oh my gosh, he got the 5K. Of course he did. But do they have the same license plate? Wait, let me actually look it up. What's the Nunavut license plate? They also use the polar bear. Get some creativity, guys. No, that's annoying. I was just sure it was only Northwestern Territories, but that was my downfall there. So now we're really behind. And that was annoying because I just purely believed based on the license plate that we couldn't be over here, but I think I would have actually got it correct otherwise. Anyway, this looked immediately like maybe Newfoundland to me. Do they have an indigenous population in Newfoundland? Probably. Chisabi Heritage Cultural Center. I think this is the name of the place. Aya Isha. It almost looks like it could be with the unofficial coverage maybe like up here on Labrador even. But it's English, so it's not going to be Quebec. Yeah, it's going to be like this kind of area for sure. I don't really see any places on Newfie that are like indigenous sounding though. It kind of reminds me of Tasmania, which is like our equivalent, I would say. And Tasmania almost has no indigenous place names either. I'm going to say we are up here somehow on like the 510. Yeah, I'm going to go there.
Okay, another Arctic Center, Chisasibi Heritage and Culture Center, Fort George Road. Okay, this one might be a bit more tough. This is the second unofficial thing, I think. But okay, first of all, we know it's Canada. I know because it says maximum right there, whereas in the United States it says speed limit. Now, this does not sound Inuit to me. Chisasibi does not sound Inuit. Ayanisha. This sounds to me like a Dene language, an Athabascan language. There's a lot of them spoken in Northwestern Territories. The Dene language family is one of the largest in North America. It might be the largest geographically spread out, and it's definitely the one with the most number of speakers. It's native from Alaska, Yukon, Northwestern Territories, then British Columbia, and then some in Alberta. And it goes down some pockets in sort of Northern California and Oregon over here, and all the way down south here in Arizona, the Navajo Nation. The Navajo language is also a Dene language. It's a part of the Southern Athabascan branch, and it's by far like the single most spoken Native American language, sort of First Nations in Canada they call it, but indigenous language of North America. And their northern cousins speak Dene languages as far north as the Northwestern Territories. And this to me just looks more like a Dene language than it does Inuktitut. Chisasibi just sounds more Dene to me. Fort George, I know in Yukon they have a lot of forts. Fort Resolution, Fort Simpson, and so on. I don't know if I'm finding this. So here, I think need to look for the reservations and maybe find a Chisasibi. These are Gwich'in lands. Gwich'in is definitely a Dene language. I just don't remember which one of these. Deline. This as well, if you can see right here, these diacritics almost look like Polish a little bit, that they use it in Dene languages as well. I don't know if I'm finding Chisasibi, honestly. This must be, it's somewhere here. It's somewhere either Yukon or Northwest Territories. It might be just Klitschko lands, you know what? It could be just Benchoko. So I'm just going there. Oh, wow. Okay. Fort George. So it wasn't Fort George, and Chisasibi. Interesting. This must be some sort of Algonquian. I'm not sure if Dene languages are spoken that far east, though I might be mistaken, but there's more Algonquian languages related to Cree. Cree is also written in the syllabary, which I completely forgot to mention until now.
Okay, when it was Quebec with English. We are quite a bit closer. He's in the Northwestern Territories this time. Chisasibi. I was mispronouncing it, but there it is. It is actually somewhat findable, but I had no idea that they would like be speaking English up here. But Fort George, Rogan River? Dang. It really looked like Newfoundland and Labrador to me. Ooh. Felt Eru Geespurt Nai Hinshi. That is something interesting. This immediately reminded me maybe of Isle of Man, so that would be Manx. I know that Shawn even knows some Manx, so maybe he'll be able to flex a translation here. Best Town Award 2008-2009. This is old coverage. I think it makes sense, guys. Oh, Peel. Wait, Peel I've heard of. I just realized, yeah, we're entering Peel. I completely ignored the top line. We're going north, I would say, like basically directly north into it, and that might be the ocean there, actually. Is it? Maybe we're just like here, actually. We're like next to a hotel, I would say. I don't know, I'm not seeing that. Maybe, yeah, maybe it could be this one. Maybe it could be the Castle View Care. That kind of looks like the kind of building we might be next to. I'm gonna go there.
Welcome to Peel. Felt Irju Gesportne Hinja. Okay, I really hoped that Daniel, my friend, would put in a little Easter egg for me, Bella Terson Farm, in the form of, this is so cool. So this is the Isle of Man. The language right here is Manx. It is a Celtic language. As mentioned previously, it's related to Scottish, Gaelic, Irish. The three of them form the Gaelic languages, and then Welsh, Breton, and Cornish, Brythonic languages together, the Celtic ones. Now, Felt Iriu Gesportne Hinja. For those who don't know, I have actually been learning Manx for years at this point. I'm nowhere near fluent, but I'd say I'm a comfortably like high A2, maybe bordering B1 level. Manx actually went extinct in 1974 when the last native speaker, Ned Madrell, died, but since then it began to get revived, and today there's approximately 2,000 speakers, of which there's a few dozens potentially neo-native speakers, which are new children who grew up speaking the language. And there's even a school in St. John's right here, Bunskoil Gaelgach, you can see it right here, which is a Manx medium school where children from 0 to 12 study through Manx. And the Isle of Man is one of the most beautiful places I've ever visited, ever. And I've actually stayed in Peel, which is the western town over here, Purtnahinja. So we're driving into Purtnahinja. I'm pretty sure I've even been on this exact road from here. So there's a Balaterson farm. I wonder if it's just here or just outside. Balatesson Meadow. Okay, so we must be right here. We're entering Purtnahinja. This is so cool. If anybody ever gets a chance to visit the Isle of Man, please do. Like it says here, by the way, Felt Iriugis Purtnahinja. Welcome to Purtnahinja, which is Peel in Manx. So, yeah. Enough dilly-dallying about Manx, but Zigzag is actually closer.
And there we go, we do manage the 5k there, but of course, Shawn does too. I mean, I was not expecting to make any points back on that one, but time is getting short now for us to win, guys. And it does not look like it's going to get any easier here, because we're near Cottbus here, which is, I believe, like all the way on the border here. So this is probably some kind of language like Wendish or something like that, which is actually where a quarter of my ancestors are from, out here near Dresden, in the kind of Silesian area in eastern Germany, that kind of thing. So we're also near Kolkwitz, which also has the second place name here. Kolkwitz is there. We're probably on the main road itself, going east, and we're about to cross the railroad there, and we're actually exiting. Here, we're actually exiting Kolkwitz, so I guess we're like on Berliner Straße. Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. I'm gonna guess there.
Cottbus. Okay, Cottbus, for those who might remember, so there's a town called Cottbus right here on the Polish border in East Germany, which is the sort of central capital, well, quote unquote capital of the Sorbian-speaking minority, which is a minority Slavic language spoken in Eastern Germany, and I think parts of Poland as well. But yeah, it is a Slavic language. It is related to Polish. I'm pretty sure it's a Western Slavic language. That would make sense, which would make it in the same sub-branch as Polish, Czech, and Slovak, as well as some other minority languages in Poland, like Kashubian, spoken up here, and Silesian. I think there's two varieties of Sorbian. There's Lower Sorbian and Upper Sorbian. I've always known that they're spoken somewhere in Germany, and it always makes sense to go East Germany, since that's sort of where more Slavic languages are spoken. But only relatively recently have I learned that Kodbus specifically is where it is. So Kodbus is 3 kilometers east on this, and Kolkovic, which I think we're just leaving Kolkovic. We've just left Kolkovic. So somewhere here, I think. Okay, Zigzag is even closer there. The Indonesian round, Bao Bao, and the Iqaluit round, I think, is what really hurt Zigzag here.
Okay, we managed to get the 4999 there, but as I said, pretty straightforward round there. Definitely interesting from a linguistic point of view to have like kind of those sub-regions of Germany with the different languages, but not so good for us. Oh, we have here Szkola. So we're going to be in Eastern Europe, but look at that. We also have Cyrillic being used here. I feel like this is just Slovakia right on the Ukrainian border. So do we have a place name here? Osnovna. We might be able to find that. But what does it say on the Slovak side? Zakladna? Is that the place name? I'm not sure. It could be a type of school as well. We are kind of in the hills as well. We'd probably have to be like around here. I don't know. Not seeing any like further information here, so probably just gonna guess inside the mountains over here. Right on the border, right? I'm pretty sure it looks quite a bit like Ukraine as well, so yeah, I'll go for that.
Zakladna Szkola, Osnovna Szkola. Okay, that is another Slavic language, but this one I'm actually more weirded out by. Duchnovichova ulica. Duchnovichova ulica. Well, clearly this Slavic language is written both Cyrillic and Latin alphabet, which is a common thing that happens in former Yugoslavia in certain countries, such as Serbia. They use both Cyrillic and Latin. I think some Bosnia as well, but Bosnia doesn't have official coverage. And Montenegro, I want to say as well, and maybe North Macedonia sometimes, rarely, even though I think they use more the Cyrillic script than the Latin script. But also, this isn't a diss at all, but Serbia usually has, in my experience, worse looking coverage. I mean, Osnovna Škola, I think this just means primary school. I'm not sure if this is Serbia or like this, just Duchnovichova ulica. The fact that there's an I like that automatically excludes Macedonia for me, in my mind. Could it theoretically be Croatia? I'm more leaning towards Serbia, and because it sort of reminds me, it's kind of hilly, I think I'm just gonna go East Serbia here. Yeah, that is very embarrassing, actually. I don't know how Slovakia didn't even go into my mind there. Now that I think about it, that makes a lot more sense than Serbia. I don't know what I thought about there, especially the I, which is a thing in Ukrainian. I don't know how I didn't even think of that.
There we go. Was Eastern Slovakia? Wow, he's in Serbia. He's in Serbia. We actually do make back some points on this one. Right on the Polish border. How interesting. So not even that close to Ukraine. Serbia obviously makes sense, but with Generation 4 camera, they will be releasing that soon in Serbia, but it's not out yet, so I knew we wouldn't be there. Plus, the Poles were definitely Czechoslovak. Okay, a little bit of a comeback. We're within striking distance now. And, ooh, look at this. Morozenoi. Not sure what that means. I mean, initial vibe here, probably like southern Ukraine or something. I mean, I think it just means ice cream, maybe in 2 languages here, because we have the triple exclamation mark on all 3. So we're basically gonna have to vibe this. Let's actually sound it out. So Morozhenoye is this, and then Tunarma. That's an interesting sounding thing. Maybe we should actually default maybe to the bilingual places up here. Ufa, Kazan, something like that. It felt very warm though. But sometimes that's just the architecture doing the talking. Maybe it's actually like Ufa or something. We are going like slightly northwest, which you do see that angle quite a bit in Ufa. Is Ufa very historical like this? I'm not so sure. Seems like they don't have a mall. I'm gonna say they don't actually. I think it's not Ufa. Kazan. Kazan does. Ooh, look at this. Kazan does have a very good looking mall here. What does this say? Pekaria. I think that just means bakery, maybe. I'm gonna go for it. It looks really similar. No, that's the Kremlin. That's the Kazan Kremlin. Never mind. But the angle is at least good. But we do have restaurants and stuff here. I'm still going to stick to it. It still looks really similar to me. I'm going to go for it.
Okay. We're back in Russia. Мороженое здесь. So this means there's ice cream here. Ice cream. Дом татарской. Okay. Дом татарской кулинарии. So that says House of Tatar Cuisine. Дом чая, which is House of Tea. So because it says Дом татарской кулинарии, House of Tatar Cuisine, this is most likely Tatarstan, where the capital is Kazan. Some of you might remember from the previous video, we've talked a little bit about that. It is also a Turkic language related to a bunch of other Turkic languages, but most closely to Bashkir, spoken in Bashkortostan, the capital of which is Ufa, and also related to the same Chuvash, Chibaksare, as mentioned, but much more further than that. I think Tatar is much closer, sort of family-wise, to Kazakh and Turkish, but correct me if I'm wrong, please. This is definitely Tatarstan, so Tundurma must be ice cream in Tatar, which is really cool. I'm not seeing any other location name. I think this is just Kazan, like I'm just going Kazan here. It looks like a sort of walking street, so like downtown Kazan, something like this. What street are we on, actually? Is it possible to see? No, there's no street names, unfortunately. This makes sense to me, so I think this is just a walking street somewhere in the center of Kazan. Okay. That's okay. That also makes complete sense. If I would have zoomed in on that specifically first, then I think that would have been the first place I would have clicked.
Oh, it is Kazan? And he also got it. But, you know, still a good effort there, I would say. Okay, guys, only a few rounds left. Ooh, that's surely Welsh, right? Parcio ar Geoguessr canol I dref. Could it be Irish? Gaelic, I mean. I don't know, the Y on its own reminded me of Welsh, I think. I'm not sure what this is, like the Celtic cross, right? I'm not really sure what that would mean. I know it's really common in Irish Catholicism. This could definitely be Ireland to me. The prevalence of the letter Y in two of the words here would make me go Wales, I think. I'll go for that.
Partio ar Geoguessr canol dref. So that is Welsh, once again, except this time in its homeland, in Wales. And I see a sign for Bangor right there, which Bangor I know for a fact is a city in northern Wales right here. And it's in the A487. A4087? There's no zero in between there. Must be close to here. Oh, A487. Oh, it must be this roundabout right here, right? So this must be Welsh. Porthmundog. Bangor is towards the north, which makes sense. So I think this is literally this intersection. And we're on this side of it. This roundabout right here makes perfect sense. I wish I had a better look at the Welsh itself, because I kind of wanted to. Like, I just love reading Welsh. It just looks and sounds so cool. Okay, so Zigzag went a bit more south.
Okay, was Northern Wales? He's got really close there, but I'm still happy with that guess. Keeping us in the runnings here. I think we're less than 5,000 points behind. Ooh, just not. So we need to be closer on both rounds here. Okay, absolute 5K mode. We're near the museum. We have two different languages here. Vigilis Urbanus and Vigili Urbani. This is surely Italian, but what's the other language? Latin? Doubtful. Some local Italian language. I'm not sure. I know that there are many different languages within Italy that are all kind of a little bit different to one another. It kind of just feels like near Rome to me, to be honest. Can we get the place name? I don't think it says the place name here. Gosh. Okay, we're kind of screwed here, I think. He's probably going to be able to turn around and find where this is. Tuscan. Is there a Tuscan language? I feel like there's a Ligurian language. I'm going to try and find Liguria here. Liguria is up here. But I think this is too flat. I think this is too flat for Liguria. So yeah, I'm going to go in Livorno. Let's go Livorno. Let's see how it is.
Ok. Uffizi di Sucureo. Municipio, Vigilis Urbanus, Museo. Segnale di informazione turistica. So that sounds Italian to me. Piazza del Popolo. San Giovanni Battista. So this is Italian, 100%. The language underneath it, right here, when I see sort of the E with the thingy and Jew like that, for some reason this just makes me want to go to either Corsica or Sardinia, but because everything else is in Italian, Sardinia I think makes the most sense. There is such a language as the Sardinian language. I really don't know much about it, but we can also tell that it's Italy by the Italian plates right here. I think this is just somewhere in Sardinia. Sardinian is, yeah, I really don't have many facts to say about Sardinia. I'll just go capital. If it's Sicily, it could be Sicily. Okay, I'm glad it wasn't. Oh, he was in Livorno.
Oh no, I considered that and he got it. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Although it was flatter than I expected here, I guess we could only really see one direction on an MPZ. All we can do here is go for honor. We cannot actually win after that poor Canada showing in the Indonesia as well. And yeah, we have Sami language here up north in like Finland, and I guess you do see it in the other Nordics as well. This to me looked like Finland though. Crazy language, look how it's written. The bottom line there is actually wild. But yeah, this feels like it's going to be very northern to me. I'm not really sure what city would be the best. The places here, they're tiny villages. Yeah, up here on the Swedish border, even still, like I zoom into a place name and it's just nothing basically. Kolari. Let's go Kolari.
Okay, last one. This is Finland, 100%. The top language here is Finnish. Saamelaisaluen koulutusjärjestelmä. Tusquescus, and underneath it, these are 3 different Sami languages, actually. Sami is another Finno-Ugric language related to Finnish and Estonian and Hungarian distantly, and a bunch of languages spoken in Russia, like Komi and Udmurt, spoken in Ijevsk, and Veps, and a lot of other ones. But Sami is native to sort of this sort of northern area. There's Sami languages spoken in Sweden and Norway and Finland, and even in the Kola Peninsula here in Russia. But because everything else is in Finnish, safe to assume that we're in Finland. There's plenty of signs, so I think this is very findable. Ivalo and Kevo. Did I see Kevo? Kitlialeami. Kitila is very familiar to me. I don't remember exactly where this is. Kitila and Lemmenjoki. I've heard of all of these before, and I've definitely seen them on the map. Okay, Lemmenjoki. Okay. So Inari is a city where there's a language called Inari Sami, so I assumed it would be somewhere here. So Lemmenjoki is 45 kilometers to the southwest, so it makes sense for it to be somewhere close to Inari. If we're coming out of Inari, is this here? Okay, so it was just Inari. I cannot believe it once again, but this map has been very interesting. Thank you very much for Daniel for designing it. Again, I promise there has been zero collusion in the sense that I had no idea what to expect, and these were really fun locations in my opinion.
And there we go, and another 5k there. Inari, yeah. Did we see that? I feel like it was the first town I looked at, right? I don't know. But anyway, there we go. It is a victory, and a convincing victory from Shawn there. We can see the 3 rounds I screwed up, the Indonesia and the 2 Canadas. But apart from that, it was pretty neck and neck, especially those first rounds. We went on a pretty generational run for the first 6-7 rounds there. After that, not quite as good, but I would say let's go chat to our friend Shawn. GG, Shawn. GG.
GG. That was awesome. Like, once again, I just want to quickly say there has been zero collusion. I had zero input in designing this map, and I thought like the locations were really cool.
Oh, definitely. The Indonesia one, I think the coolest of the lot in my opinion, but definitely some super interesting locations here. I learned some stuff such as Northern Quebec speaking English. That was kind of a shock to me.
Yeah, like that one was unexpected. Like, looking at the script, I knew some languages that are written in that, but I completely blanked on the fact that in that area there is some as well, but I don't think I would have ever found that specific place.
And one that I have to point out is the Nunavut round. We had the license plates which are shaped like polar bears, and I personally have in my room 2 Northwestern Territory plates, which are shaped like polar bears, so I just assumed we were in the Northwestern Territories. Little did I know they both actually use polar bear shaped plates.
Like, so that one actually, interestingly, first of all, like when you like turn around, there were 2 flag poles, which you could, like, the flags were folded up, but one was the Canadian flag and the other one was the flag of Nunavut. Sort of, I knew to go there, but Iqaluit is the capital of Nunavut and the largest city, so I went there. But I found it really interesting, like, you went to Tuktoyaktuk in the Northwest Territories, which is actually, as of relatively recently, it is the northernmost place you can actually drive to in Canada by car.
Probably one of the most northernmost roads in the world, but I mean, Prudhoe Bay is further north, so.
Yeah, and also the round with the Isle of Man. That was, I think, more of a little Easter egg for me that my friend put in there, because maybe like most viewers here don't know this, but I've been studying Manx for years, and I've actually stayed in Peel where the location was. I'm pretty sure I was on that road at some point.
Yeah, very cool.
It's a really, really cool place. If anybody ever gets a chance, please visit the Isle of Man. Lovely place.
I would love to go there myself. I think it's very underrated for sure. But Shawn, this time, you are the victor again. 2 in a row now. Very, very clean. Thank you for joining me. And any last words for the people on this video?
Thank you very much again for having me, and I hope maybe we can do something again in the future. And a big shout out to my very good friend Daniel for designing this map. It's always a pleasure, Oscar.
Thank you for coming on. Shout out to Daniel indeed. Guys, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end of the video. We'll see you guys in a video very soon. Till next time, and goodbye.